I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. We're not doing it. I'm gonna stare at the camera. You don't even exist anymore, Carmel. Let's give you some history on this car. Okay, the 1996 Nissan Gloria Gran Turismo Ultima, okay, was a luxury car that was produced by the Japanese automaker Nissan. Okay? It was part of the Gloria range of vehicles, which also included the Gloria sedan and the Cedric wagon. It was something that was supposed to be a little bit more of an upscale version, but still being a budget, option. The Ultima Gran Turismo, though, was a high-performance variant of the Gloria, and it was designed for long-distance travel and comfort. It was equipped with a range of features such as a V6 turbo engine, a comfy interior, and the smoothest ride to grace the Midwestern Alps, which in Wisconsin are all hills. The Gloria Ultima Gran Turismo was first introduced in Japan in 1996 and was later exported to other markets around the world. And to be fair, it was the luxury counterpart to the Nissan Skyline. So I'll take that, okay? And although it was introduced and almost made exclusively for 4 whole decades, pretty much longer than anyone that's gonna watch this video has been alive, it eventually died into nothingness, and the Cressida, Debonair, and Crowns took over the world. Until I bought it. And now it's gonna be the most popular 4-door sedan ever made, okay? The budget Bentley is back. It's from Japan, it's in America, and we're gonna have a great time, okay? Move over, JZX. No one wants to pay $50,000. Move over. What else is there? Cressida? I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we're gonna be talking about the reason that I actually bought the Nissan Gloria. Fun fact, the reason that this front end looks so similar to a certain brand that starts with the letter B and ends with Bentley was because it was designed intentionally to look similar. Because Bentley wasn't in a prominent competitor space in Japan, so Nissan could use the design to inspire a similar luxury feeling. You talked about rep wheels before, but have you ever talked about rep car designs? Kia. Fun fact number 2, the Gloria is a slightly sportier version than the Cedric and Sima. Okay, so it's a mid-size versus a full size, but the Gloria's still got the woolen seats that make you fall asleep in all the right ways. There's a lot of similarities between the Sima, Cedric, Gloria, but that's one of those things that you just don't talk about because nobody really knows. Why I bought it. So I was asked on Instagram how long it took for me to actually get this car because it's a right-hand drive 4-door car. It came from Japan. Did I get it from an importer? How long does it take? Which, by the way, you can ask questions on Instagram and I'll answer them in the videos, which is pretty neat shit. Or you can do it over on Discord if this video goes live and I manage to do what I said I was gonna do on time. Link will be below. Well, for this car, we worked with Driver Motorsport, which is a bang-on group of enthusiasts that love weird cars just as much as I do. And I bumped into them at SEMA and we found a car about 4 months after that point. I just can't remember if it was 2019 or 2020. It was sometime around there, okay? It took a little less than a year though to get all the mods done, but I would say to import a car and get it stateside would probably be around 90 days. What are you doing? Anyway, this was what we were on because even though it's like an automatic 4-door sedan, things can be swapped onto the car to pretty much make it a 4-door Nissan 240 SX, which was, in my opinion, probably the coolest thing ever. So when I heard that an old JDM 4-door sedan could be equipped with the underparts of a 240 SX under the skirt and a 350Z to boot, I was like, son of a bitch, I'm in. My Gloria is in fact different. It's like the ROTC kid in middle school, okay, but in a good way. You see, this thing originally came with a 4-speed automatic transmission that used a planetary gear set, hydraulic clutches, and was super lovely and smooth. The whole point of the car was to be the introduction of what ultimately would become Infinity. We tore that out, and I'd safely say that there's probably very little that's not touched or played around with on this budget Bentley, even down to the shifter. Driver Motorsport helped with installing a CD009 transmission out of a Nissan 350Z. Also, the boot was made by Devin's mother from Driver Motorsport, and actually his mom owns one of these. We can ignore the LOJ conversion mount if you want to, but it does have a likewise shifter adapter because I can already hear the comments saying of what it looks like, and the most important thing of all, it's got working and functional power seats. It's got some other goodies, like this inline hydro. Yeah, I know it's inline, okay, but I'm not a pro drifter and I need to learn on like a basic car before anything else. But it's not a slouch. It's got a 3-inch exhaust made from Vibrant parts. It's got an FX400 6-puck clutch, okay? It's got a clutch master flywheel, ARP hardware, Willwood goodies for the clutch system, PTFE brake lines, S13 front knuckles, baby, 5-lug hubs, a GK Tech outer tie rod, 2-way cars, differential because it was an open diff, which was a bit of a pain in the ass to actually get all dialed in with the hubs and custom drive pass pieces that didn't really all work together, but we did it, okay? And on top of that, it's now owned by a semi-adequate owner. It's the uglier but more professional 240SX, with the suspension conversion parts being S13 up front and S14 in the rear. And I thought I'd be able to learn in this car when the time was right. And then I decided to not have a normal job. See, this is the weird thing about where all of these awkward cars are kind of sitting at, which is I don't really know what to do with them. Dustin Korth asked me what my least favorite part of the car was, and for me, the answer is clear. You see, it's got this fucking terrible, atrocious, annoying air conditioning system in here, and at 18 degrees Celsius, which is 64 degrees, it feels like you just opened the tent outside to the fucking North Pole right near your feet. It is the coldest air conditioning system I've ever actually had in my life. It might as well feel like I'm wearing flip-flops in February than have this thing on. But the moment you click it to 18.5 degrees Celsius, you see, this car was intended originally for the 2022 season. I was gonna go to Club FR, learn how to drift with people that 100% know way more than me in terms of this sport, and maybe get some laps in to be experienced enough in the summertime so that when we went into 2023, we could actually do more of that. We could get really good at it. We could invite people, have friends over, do drift stuff with me and my friends. But we ran into issues like any proper car build, because anybody that says things go perfectly is a fucking liar. The Cos 2A differential didn't like being bolted up to the rear end, and the conversion gearing and components that were supposed to work together in the back of that car didn't, okay? Finding and replacing the parts proved to be insanely difficult, mostly because the only time that we knew actually what was going on with the car underneath it, it meant that we had to actually go in there, tear it down, test fit it. Turns out it didn't work. Return the product, try again over and over and over. And Driver Motorsport and Kaz and all of our partners were super helpful, but it did not change the fact that it was still a massive pain in our ass, okay? Then once we started to get closer and work got crazier, I remember initially thinking that we should do like a big single turbo and do like all sorts of crazy stuff with it. But like, you know, with things getting emotionally draining, I realized overbuilding the car didn't really make a lot of sense, nor was I really giving it a lot of time. So it kind of got put on the back burner for a couple months. And let's be honest here, as a starting drift car, I'm just gonna say it, you don't need 350 horsepower, okay? You need a car you're willing to throw away, okay? It'd be cool, but you just don't need it, okay? But you can splurge yourself every once in a while, okay? So that's what I did by getting the Gloria and not the 240SX. But I didn't want to be that guy at my first drift day with 400 horsepower coming out of VQ 30 DET engine and Gloria that was right-hand drive, okay? The stock aero is wild and I love it, but it needs to be a little bit slow because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, okay? But because life was going to shit a bit in 2022, that was all right that I wasn't taking the highest priority of my spare time on the car, okay? Now, in the middle of the summer of this year, we did finally get it, and it was totally worth it, okay? And if you've seen the Build and Trip series, you know that it had some of its ups and downs. I was honestly not entirely sure what was gonna happen, but it felt like an M. Night Shyamalan movie because every single time we tried to get that car home initially, it didn't want to come to Wisconsin. But I've got it now. So what do? It's January, and the people on Discord and Instagram have spoken that the Glory deserves its time in the salty cream of snow up here in Wisconsin. And to be fair, Dakota acting like an idiot in his Toyota Supra every single time I see him makes me a little bit jealous. It's like listening to a kid that finally got that annoying toy at Christmas and won't stop using it. But I want to make sure before I do anything with the car that YouTube is on board, because sometimes people are weird on Instagram. Maybe we should just sell it, buy an Audi A4 like a responsible adult and finish the other two car builds that are slowly not having absolutely anything done. I just feel like I'm getting old at this point where my hips just hurt more and I wake up earlier. It's cold up here in Wisconsin, okay? The weather sucks, and I'm not entirely sure that learning to drift on the sim rig is the same thing as learning in person. But then at the same time, I'm not entirely sure that drifting a 30-year-old Nissan in the winter is the right answer either. I don't have a winter car, but I do have a luxury, premium, definitely won't rust, 26-year-old car that is the most reliable one out of the fleet. So it's either I do this or I sell it, because that's what I do with all the cars that actually treat me right. I'm Alex, AlexMartini with 2 underscores on Instagram, and today we talked about cars, more specifically, what the hell and where the hell and why the hell I have a Nissan Gloria and the old and just why the hell I have a Nissan Gloria in the garage and just what our plans are to do with it. I want you to help me figure it out, and it would make me feel a lot better. Where did my cat go? Ow. All right, we'll see you later. Goodbye.